Welcome to Full Booted Libra. I have had some beautifully visceral experiences in illuminating, which is what the moon does, my relationships, which is one of the things that Libra is about. And it has been eye-opening and amazing. Looking at the specificness or the intricateness or the details of any and all relationships in my life with a fine-tooth comb, looking at each of these relationships that I am in, whether it be friends, work, projects, family, the list goes on. Has been an opportunity to look at what constitutes the exchange, or what the exchange of that relationship is constituted of, by, with. And what I'm noticing at a really, really small micro level, as well as a macro, of how those exchanges are or are not equal or engaged or elevated, or real, based on real things, are shrouded in not being honest with myself, or the other person not being honest with themselves, which then affects our interaction and our connection from both sides. So I feel like what I'm being invited to do is to really acutely, review, engage, understand each of my relationships and how they add to or hinder my life, the beauty of my life, the expansiveness of my life, the engagement of my energy and time and resources, and how valuable all of those things are for me, and in a very multi-layered way, which everything I'm saying is always sort of speaking to you all on many levels. How important it is that I am cognizant of those exchanges and make every effort to ensure that I'm open and communicating about those exchanges with those people and situations, to ensure that we are on the same page. And also the right that I have to do that. The right, let me go one step further, the responsibility I have to be fully loving and embracing with myself, for myself, to speak up for the interactions of all of those relationships so that I am serving myself. It's kind of fascinating, hey? When you look at it at that level of detail. Beep, beep. Welcome back. New place, new moment, new time. Same message. Libra. What's been coming through as I digest the last few days post the full moon is an interesting concept around Libra is justice, or the scales, and what I started to feel was a level of noticing myself, how I was justifying behaviors of my own, other people's, and maybe going through this internal dialogue of like what I had to justify in what I was doing and why I was doing something, and I specifically talk about that too in relation to myself and being myself. And I think it's another level of uncovering this sort of veil that's lifting off all of us of how do we, find ourselves, the relationship with self, the relationship with others, and how do we justify behavior or make excuses for people within that, and in ourselves too, where we're showing up and we're not being as present or as honest. And I mean, for me, it's just going back to like the two people in a room farting kind of conversation, and relationship with oneself is, relationships are more than like a physical person. There's yourself, with God, with others. So, if you fart in the room, you can smell it. And so you're having your own journey of that, of like pretending it wasn't you, or pretending that food that you ate, that you're not meant to eat, that gives you bubble guts, that makes you fart. Like, why would you do that to yourself? And in relations with others too, I think for me, what was so present in that time of that moon was like people who were farting in the room with me and then being like, I didn't fart. And you're like, well, I smell it and I know it. I saw your fucking pants move when your butt just like, whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that's really the humor and the post full moon digestion, like derivative, like what's boiled down for me in this experience is, in relation with myself, the justification, the finding balance around those moments of truth with myself, with others, and by no means having expectations of others to be in that way, but also, when they are or are not, how am I behaving? How am I kind of making excuses for them, or how am I brushing it off and just pretending? It's like, when you keep talking and it stinks in the room and you don't say anything, it's kind of like, well, that was weird, you just farted, like we're just gonna not talk about it. And then maybe even in a little sense of finding our tribe, to be around peoples that allow us to be real and honest, and we're not justifying our behavior of how we have to sort of behave a certain way, or justify when we act in a different way. Does that make sense? All of those kind of things around like when we are with people or in relations with others that aren't being as honest or as open or as real, and pretending there's a fart in the, pretending there's not a fart in the room. What is that experience, and how do we either speak up around that, or how do we step out of that, or how do we tune in deeper and be like, how can I be more present with myself and how can I show up for me in this regardless of how they're showing up? You know, in all of the relationships with myself, how am I showing up? And how am I, you know, being real and honest in relation with others and myself and God or the universe or whatever you call it, her, them, the beings. Anyway, wishing you all an amazing week. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your truth. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your presence. We're coming into eclipse season, which is super exciting. Coming up with the new moon being in Scorpio, and then the full moon being, sorry, the new moon in Taurus and the full moon in Scorpio. With the eclipses, so super powerful stuff. The north nodes and the south nodes, which you know, the moon serves to the pleasure of the nodes, and the nodes being sort of the direction of the north node of where we're going, and the south node of where we're coming from, or have come from. So whilst that might sound like a bit of gobbledygook, what I want to share is, you know, if you look at your natal chart or your astrological chart, you can see your north node. And I've talked about this before with me. My north node is Scorpio, which means my purpose in life, my forward motion, is to always understand everything to the deep levels and go deep into stuff. And I think, you know, for those who know me, they know that to be true. So it's interesting that these moon transits are in the same places as the nodes, because it's sort of a, you know, eclipses come in and sort of like karate chop and you know, lightning bolt things in and out. So be curious about that as it comes up. You know, the first one is in Taurus, our money, our sort of self-worth, our value, and then in Scorpio, sort of the underworld, our inner way, our transformation, our ability to see things on different levels. You know, those things will be coming in and out. Anyway, love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm wishing you a really gentle ride in being honest and open with yourself in terms of your relationships with yourself and others, and what behaviors and conversations and things are you justifying or sweeping under the carpet, or even giving energy to that no longer need energy. Cut it out, stop it now, do what you want. Anyway, love you, bye.